I wanted to talk a little bit about some DIY nutrition because when it comes to nutrition and health and weight loss, weight gain, muscle development, you're kind of on your own. So how's that working? Crooked. And therefore, nobody will help you. That looks better for me anyway. Laptop was sliding off my printer. So you're kind of on your own when it comes to nutrition, and that's why I call it DIY, nutrition. Not just because I'm a DIY kind of guy, but I've always enjoyed doing shit myself because finding someone to help was always a ginormous pain in the ass, and nowadays it's even worse because no one wants to work. And most of your doctors are licensed by the AMA and the Food and Drug Administration, who would rather sell you oxycodone and get you hooked on pain pills than actually treat your symptoms. So you kind of have to figure this shit out yourself. So how do you do that? Well, you can go old school and do some critical thinking. So most of the people I know that are overweight and have struggled with weight loss issues most of their life will tell you that they eat salads, and I try to eat low fat salad dressing, and I use really lean meat in my salad. And so what do they end up with is getting no energy for their muscles and their body, because you have to put gasoline in your engine for it to fucking work. So if you're not eating fat, and then because you're eating salad, you're not eating even carbohydrates, then you're just getting a bunch of alleged nutrients and vitamins out of the salad. But because there's nothing in your salad dressing and nothing in your meat, you're kind of eating nothing, basically. So then you're hungry. And people I know that truly do try to lose weight by eating salads and low fat and blah, 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 um, they lose weight only because they're starving themselves to death, but they're always hungry. And so the minute they get down to their target weight, they shoot right back up because they stopped the diet, which is probably good for them because they're going to kill themselves. So I met a young lady today at the Walmart, and I think I'd met her 10, 11 years ago at the feed store where I used to buy hay for the miniature horses we had. And she had worked there, and she had a miniature dachshund, but it was a long hair, and we had just gotten a miniature dachshund. So our little puppies were the same age. So now her puppy and my puppy are now grown up, 10, almost 11-year-old dogs. So we were talking about that and all that. And when I met her, she was, typical young teenage girl, not even probably 20. And, thin, cheerleader body, I guess, high school. And now she's just kind of put on a little bit of weight. And she works hard. And I could tell by her shopping cart that she tries to eat good food. So what's going on there? And what it is it's so fucking simple that a caveman could do it. Well, cavemen did do it. And all they ate with the Paleolithic man was meat. If they could kill it, they would grill it and eat it. That was their diet. And I've said for years that the birds you see today in your yard eating seeds ate seeds 1,000 years ago. They didn't change to the Malibu diet and then the tropical Hawaiian punch diet and then the Snickers diet, they just eat seeds. And so humans just always have to change our diet for some unknown reason. So if you were to just eat meat, high fat, whatever was on that animal when you killed it, and if you did like the American Indian and you ate all of it, you ate the gristly parts, you ate the skin, you ate the meat, the fat, everything, and turned it into tallow and used that for cooking, then you were pretty much, you could say, a carnivore diet, but you were definitely very low carb, high fat. And 90% of the diet of most indigenous people thousands of years ago were that. Very little carbohydrate, whatever they could find, tubers and stuff, and primarily fat diet. And they were thin. They had better bone structure than we do today. They had less tooth loss. They were taller, and they lived into their 80s just like we do. So, there was no obesity running around, because I guess if you were too fat to run from the bear, then your buddy got away that could outrun you. So this is what's happening in America. And unfortunately, when you go to your doctor, they're going to just blow smoke up your butt and tell you something that the FDA told them to tell you. And if they don't tell you, they'll lose their license. But the body has two choices for energy. It can burn fat, which is ketones, or it can burn sugar, which is carbs or glucose. That's it. Those are the only, when you swallow food, that's the two choices, the two pathways that food goes to. That's it. It doesn't go, ooh, Gatorade. Here's some electrolytes. It's like Brondo, and it puts it over there. It doesn't work that way. It just treats it and looks for fat or ketones or carbs and sugar. And the body has a real hatred toward blood sugar getting high at all, because blood in the sugar is really kind of like water in your gas. It's fucking bad. So the body creates insulin to get that sugar, and it forces it into the muscles as energy. But if you ate fat, then it would just be energy. Boom. Done and done. And people have argued with me for years, because I'm not a doctor. Well, whatever. So you have to reconsider your diet, and especially if you're a prepper and if you believe the world is ending soon because of the economics and stuff, then you're going to buy food storage. And if you buy a bunch of food storage that's bad for you, you're not going to do well. You're not going to be healthy. You're going to get diabetes. You're going to become obese. You're going to have all these problems of very low energy. Whereas the Masai warriors, who drink blood and eat raw meat basically and chase down their prey, like they don't have rifles and jeeps, so they just run and chase them. And those are some of our best, track and field runners, are the Masais, because they've always run, and that's what they eat, and they have tons of energy. So you have to ask yourself, well, what the fuck's up with that? And the Eskimos that only eat meat, fish, that's it. They can't grow food. They live in the tundra, and they've been around for thousands of years just eating fish. What's for breakfast? Fish. What's for dinner? Frozen fish. What's for lunch? Fish soup. Fish. And they're fine. Now, the only reason they've become unfine is over the years we've built villages and stuff, and we have ice road truckers bringing in potato chips and stuff and carbs. That's fattened them up. If you see a rancher from 100 years ago, he was pretty thin and lean and wiry and strong as fuck, and he didn't eat potato chips out on the range like nowadays. So this is what has happened to us, is we've been told. And a friend of mine had some a bypass, and my brother had a bypass too, and his doctor told him, you need to eat this, that, and the other thing, And I told my brother, I go, well, your cardiologist is pretty fucking smart as a cardiologist, but she has not spent 8 years in college learning biochemistry and nutrition. See, because doctors that are nutritionalists actually study a great deal about nutrition. Now, unfortunately, they are also licensed by the FDA that wants us to eat the food pyramid and poison ourselves. That's why we're obese. And if you don't believe that, well, then sucks to be you, because you can see that through our history. Obesity, childhood diabetes is on the rise when it used to be kind of non existent. So everything is getting worse. When you look at it, you go, this does not make sense. Why is this happening? And you have to kind of look at it and go, geez, why is that happening? Maybe not a doctor here, but maybe what they're saying is not right. Maybe, just maybe, what they're saying is incorrect. And so if I look back at healthier generations, like, you know, the Indians, the Native Americans, the Eskimos, the Mazais, 600 years ago, where they didn't have processed food, and they didn't, and don't even get that in your head. Well, if it's not processed, then it's good for you. No. But, they ate meat. They chased down meat. They killed it and they ate it. And then they would take off and run after something else to eat. And they were healthy. They were thin. They were lean. They didn't have diabetes. They didn't have obesity. They were just there. Now, a lot of people go, well, that's not very much comfort food. And that sounds like kind of a sucky fucking way to live. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I think living without health issues is a great way to live. And I've said it, I don't know how many times, that I'm 69, going on 70 next July. I don't take medications. I'm not obese. I'm not overweight. And everything's, fine. I don't take any pain pills, nothing. And I've been eating this diet for close to 10 years now. So you as a DIYer must do your homework, just like if you're going to build a house or a foundation or a dry pour for concrete, or you're going to build your own trusses or permacolumns or whatever you want to do, build your own lamb beams, your I-joists, TGIs, whatever you want to do, you have to read about it. You have to watch a bunch of videos about it. You have to learn about it. And therefore, it's called homework. And that's why it's DIY. Do it yourself. So it's DIY nutrition also, because you don't need a doctor any more than you need an engineer to build some of the things that DIYers build. You don't need that. If you got grips of cash and you don't give a shit, fine. If you're building it for a customer, then yeah, fine. But if this is just for you, then you can learn enough about it to build something and save a lot of money. And the same with your nutritional needs as a human being. It's pretty simple. And that's what everyone needs to learn and start doing. So I'm going to wrap it up. I just wanted to test it with the laptop. Obviously, the lighting sucks. If you kind of like this video, then do the old thumbs up. If you hated it, yeah, it's cool. Do the thumbs down. I'd rather you just left a comment and said you suck, because thumbs down really pisses off the algorithm. And we're trying to wake the algorithm up to be on our side. So anyway, had a few people pop in and pop out. Sorry, I lost you. Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to figure out the old live thing and get a proper setup here and use this as my studio once I get the lighting and get the right cameras and stuff like that going, and getting different things to work to where I can maybe share a screen and stuff. But I think the DIY portion of being a prepper is very important, whether it's about building your retreat, building, your own pews, I guess, because we can't say the other word that starts with G and sounds like hun. But anyway, and when it comes to nutrition and food storage, it's on you. It really is. If you're the the provider or the prepper of the family and the one that has the vision and the big grand scheme of how this is supposed to happen and go down, then you need to learn nutrition. Because if you don't learn nutrition and you don't understand what you're doing, you will spend a lot of money buying gardening stuff, buying trapping stuff, buying hunting stuff, buying fishing stuff, buying land and all these things for growing food, when really you might want to become carnivore and have a simpler life to where you hunt and shoot it, eat it, take the fur, make some clothes. That's, prepping. So these are the things you have to ask yourself and go, what am I going to eat when the world ends? And if you're going to eat plant-based diet, then fine, learn about it. Because if you're going to go into gardening and growing and having land and a homestead and all that stuff, it takes a lot of money. You don't want to be wasting money on things that have to do with a meat-based diet, because that's hunting, trapping, fishing, hiking equipment, going out, trap lines, all that stuff. So it's two worlds. They're very far apart. And the gap between them is a lot of money. It's just filled with money. So if you're going to be over here, spend money over here, gardening equipment and all that. If you're going to be way over here, be over there. Learn meat processing and all that. But if you want to do both, there's a lot of money that's going to get dumped into this abyss, and you might not have time to do it. So pick it. I would highly recommend being carnivore diet. That's just me. I can't really tell you how to live. It's worked out great for me. It's eliminated my inflammation. It makes me feel better. I have a lot more energy. My T values are fine. Everything is fine, just like when I was a kid. So because I'm eating like I did when I was a kid, which we didn't have a lot of junk food back then. So it was like, eggs and meat and soup and bacon and stew, pork chops, and that's just that. Every once in a while there was some stuff, and Mom would say, "Eat your salad," and it's like, so that's what I'm telling you to do. Learn it, understand it, figure it out, because you are on your own. So I hope you like this. I hope it did some good for you. Thumbs up. Talk to y'all later. Adios. Bye bye.